questions of the panelists. And I want to reverse the cycle that Murli used for introduction. We are in polite company, so Shanta, obviously we got to start asking the questions with you. I know Murli shared some questions to you over the mail, but some of the key questions that I would like you to answer are on screen. What are the big changes that you're seeing as a banker who's been there for 25 years and now heading HR and HR, CSR, and many other things in RBL Bank? And how should banks respond? What skills are required of the FOS? Do you see them work from home too? And if yes, how do you ensure that they're productive? And last, will you be changing any hiring criteria in the future for FOS and the process change? So over to you, Shanta.
Okay, this is fabulous. You start with me and you just put me on the spot. I thought I'll listen to the fantastic gentlemen who are there first. And, it's okay. There's always a beginning. So what are the big changes you're seeing? The fact that I'm actually on a panel, sitting on a Zoom call itself is a big change for me. So, we've started our lives with just looking at a screen and trying to show empathy, trying to show emotional intelligence, trying to show all the qualities and who we are in a short call, because nobody has time today to spend with you for 4 to 5 hours to have a presentation or listen to you. So I think the world has become more transactional and far more brief. And all our communication now that we are seeing is to the point. There is a time slot and there is life which is around the timing that we have set for each one of us. I think it's not going to be very different for a customer. In good old days, a feet on street could spend hours trying to reach a customer, contact a customer, probably even take out that time through contacts, etc., to reach him. Today, the gentleman may decide not to reach you through a Zoom call, or not to connect when you do a WhatsApp call. He may even block you, or a telephone call. He may not even want to reach you. So that's obviously putting a lot of pressure on us. One of the things you need to realize is that banking has moved digital a little while ago. Fortunately for us, we are not an organization, or we are not a fraternity which is first time digital. Right. So the DigiBank concept was already in Poland, etc. 90% of their sales come through digital sales only. And we've seen that in all the developed countries. More importantly, it's not very different in India. We have a competitor bank who's not a panelist, but they have definitely looked at about 70% of their sales even today has started coming from digital sales. Obviously, the model works well. What probably was a challenging phase for all of us in the month of April was how are we going to complete KYC? I think because there's a regulatory angle to that. Fortunately, we have even circumvented that problem because we've started the video KYC process. 2 or 3 banks. One is, of course, my panelist in the Sindh, and the other bank which has started is Kotak and ourselves. We've already gone ahead and done the video KYC. So to a large extent, what's happened with our teams back home? Our work on digital selling has definitely gone up. So upgrading our people to understand digital selling. What we've realized, okay, so let me just go back a little bit. When you do face-to-face selling, there is a little bit of communication, which is your overall grooming, your contacts, your connects, which have worked for us in face-to-face selling. Today, when we have to connect with a customer, we have to induce the customer to create the lead himself. So what's working for us is there are 3 layers that we've realized work for us well. The branding and communications team, that's our marketing team, our own sales fulfillment team, and definitely the partnerships and the aggregators. So the process is that you use a lot of promotions for people to come in through digital. So their lead generation has already happened. And what your existing feet on street are really doing today is trying to do a sales fulfillment layer. Now I'll take the benefit of dividing that into 2. You have something called the new to bank acquisition, and you have what you call enhanced relationship value, which is to your existing customers. So when I look at the new to bank acquisition, the focus will be a combination of brand and marketing, definitely the aggregator and partnership model, and the sales fulfillment channel to make sure, with the help of digital KYC, which is your video based KYC, to make this a reality. When I look at enhancing relationship value, I will have to be real time with this customer on a continuous basis to make sure that we use all channels seamlessly. So whether it is your mobile, whether it's your your online sales, or whether it's your ATM sales, it has to happen in a seamless fashion so that the sales fulfillment layer has minimalistic work to do. So what's the pressure that it has done to us? We've landed up with a different kind of pressure. The pressure is to make our team's communication short and brief and paraphrasing with the customer if the customer is willing to do a conversation. So we have broken our customers. We have looked at all our feet on street. We have looked at those feet on street which are a little higher in quality and have been more productive, and moved them as relationship managers, and actually invested in training so that these people get upgraded on various products and actually become Aspire RMs, Aspire being one of our products. What are we going to do with the bunch which you just mentioned, which is about 28% of people who do not have really any roles to play? I'm talking about the 66% of people. I'm sure we can upgrade them. We can get them to be part of our bigger mainstream banking when we are moving digital. But the 28% of them, which is going to be the ones who probably may not be marketable for all practical purposes,
Right.
we will have to use technology to understand how they're going to do their conversations with customers. And maybe we'll have to start recording this like we do in an IVR. Understand where are the gaps and probably invest in them for the future. Many of my competitor banks are already doing it or are in the verge of doing this. There's one area which is still unexplored, but we are sure we will probably explore that space, is sensitivity analysis of our customers. How is their mood when you are actually doing a conversation with them? So we will have to bucket this into a multi-layer strategy and then look at how to make these feet on street productive and profitable in the days to come. The existing model is definitely going to undergo a change. The way we hired in the past, the way we upgraded them, there is definitely going to be a change. The future is all about, actually Forbes had put out the skills that would be required for the future. I think a very interesting article where they've spoken about adaptability, creativity, innovation, data, analytics, and of course, artificial intelligence, which will define how we're going to actually do sales in the future in financial companies. So our hiring will have to emulate all of these if we really want to be, successful in the days to come. It's a long answer for short 4 questions, but I thought because you put me in the spot and I was the first one to go, I'll probably go ahead and tell you this. If there's anything that I missed, please help me go back to any question that I would have missed.
Yes, we'll circle back to you. Thank you so much. And let me then move on to Zubin. A similar question: what are some of the big changes you are seeing, and how should banks respond? And increasingly, I guess a lot of people are working from home. And do you see a future that sales teams will also work from home? And if they do that, how do we manage the productivity? Is there a measure? Is there a way to track them? Because normally, when they come into office in a daily morning huddle or evening huddle or the BSM connecting with them, there is a way to track them. How do you do that? What sort of skills the new age FOS will need? Do we need to change their orientation for remote selling? Well, a lot of them, when we have hired them in the past, we've always hired people who could go in front of a customer, connect with them, see eye to eye, bond with them a little bit if possible. That's not possible anymore if they go digital. And the last is, of course, will you need as many FOS as earlier? Or will the team become bigger? Will it remain the same? Will it reduce? Will the hiring criteria or the process change? These are some of the questions that we would like you to consider. Zubin, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Murli, once again, thank you for having me here, you and TMI, and to all our esteemed viewers who have taken the time to log in and listen to us. I hope we can make the time worth the while. Getting straight into the questions, I have the advantage of speaking after Shanta, so I can pick up a few things from what she said. I'll try not to. And poor Srirang will have to repeat quite a bit. But I know he's a smart guy. He'll come up with other stuff as well. What are the changes? You know, there was this major word that was bandied around 5 years ago. It was called disruption. And there were all these major fintechs, newcomers, etc., which said we'll disrupt banking. We'll change the way banking is done. Most banks will find it difficult to survive. When a lot of people speak like that, we get scared, right? All the banks got scared and said, yeah, we don't want to disappear. We don't want to lose our business. We don't want to lose our customers, and we don't want to lose our livelihood. So we started working real hard. And nobody foresaw that you know, such a big disruption would happen in this year. But the threat of disruption 5 years ago helped us arm ourselves with a whole lot more technology, skills, products, customer segments, and the way we work, which actually really served us well during this time. Nobody was ready for this. No one can prepare for this. And even as I speak, we don't know, we just can't see sight at the end of this at all. 2 months, 1 year, 2.5 years, can't say. I think what happened is that this tested some of the abilities and some of the technology that we had set in place to see whether we can really do it. And it showed us that it was not wasted resources in terms of time, money, manpower, etc. And that this is probably the way to go forward. Now we know it is the way to go forward. Right. That doesn't mean that people don't come to work and they don't attend offices. There was a beautiful clip, Murli, which you played, and had seen it on YouTube a couple of weeks, or few weeks ago. And I feel very proud to be a banker. They say that the only people who are hated more than lawyers are bankers. I feel so proud that, you know, these are people who don't take an oath to go and work in crisis like doctors and armed forces, and but they're always in the forefront. All branches are open. It's an essential services industry, and yeah, we've faced problems. We've had parents calling up that they're worried about their children going to work, spouses calling us. We've told people those who can come, those who can't come, don't come. But the fact of the matter is we don't have an option. We have to still open and run. And that's why most of the seniors attend office, so that they can show the way to all the other people. The point over here is that a lot of things have changed. You know, the data, the regulations are changing. Regulations, the regulators making rules that will help you to digitize your banking. Shanta mentioned eKYC, I mean KYC, video KYC. It's a fabulous step, but it still requires a banker on the other side of the camera. When we can do away with that, you'll really have a digitized KYC. I don't know how ready we are as a country. I don't know how ready the regulator may be for that. And you know, these neobanks or this open banking system, which is the way forward across the world. Shanta was talking about banking, which is doing very well, and one of our colleagues who's not a panelist having 70% of the sales. The fact of the matter is it's correct. You have various fintechs who are creating products, processes, and services which can come and reside on your API, and you become an aggregator for them. The point is, they need us as much as we need them. They need us more because they will sell to my customer who's already KYC'd. They're not going to be able to do the KYC themselves. So I think we're in a good position there. So I think the regulators changing rules, which will help digitization and remote banking. I think data is available. You know, you have this GST data, it's available for everyone. You actually get a customer's financials through the GST data. You know exactly what his financials are, and you will also know what his needs are. Yes, products will keep coming, new products will come, new financials will come, etc. That will happen. That's evolution. It's a matter of progress. The top dog will sit on the top and dictate terms till somebody else comes and bites at his ankle. But that's going to happen. But what it's done for us is that it's now telling us you need a change in skill sets. You need a change in your infrastructure. You need a change in your investments. I can see corporate offices shrinking. I can say that with great belief. Uh, we've actually seen some of our corporate offices having as low as 5 to 7% attendance for the last 9 months. We've not seen a drop in our productivity. We've not seen a drop in, we've only seen a drop in physical attendance. Biometric in office, not used. Remote access, attendance, used. The question that we asked ourselves is, damn, why are we using this office here in the middle of Lower Parel? It was not needed for 2 months. Those people are now worried because then they started coming to work because they realize the office can go away. So they're coming to work now. But the fact is, it helped us to look at that. Branches are going to become smaller in size. The sales team in the branch is going to become less because remember this, the sales team went out and met the customer. Branches are going to become ports of fulfillment of certain services, but most of the services and operations will go online. Money is now being dispersed through an ATM, right? It happened donkeys years ago. That was disruption, and that was some kind of digitization. My bank has been giving choice money for almost now 7 or 8 years, where you can actually go and choose the denomination. So actually the need to go to a teller and say, acha ye dena 500 ka dena, 200 ka dena is gone. I think mobile apps are fabulous. I mean, I have seen everybody, and all of you will agree, will understand. We've been transferring money to our house help online. I mean, I had asked them to open accounts years ago, and we've been doing that, and there's been no problem over there. But the skill set now required by a bank, first of all, numbers will come down, I feel, in terms of our hiring. There will be far more active evaluation of performance, which will also be remote. Numbers will be gathered remote. Productivity will be seen remote. And therefore, the person you're now looking for, to use a very loose and very overused term, the new millennials, they know exactly what they want, and they know exactly how to use this technology, and we'll be looking at them. But we're going to go right to the opposite side of the spectrum as well. You're going to see housewives who've sent their children off to school. I don't know whether schools will also become online and physically disappear. I don't think that will happen, but they'll have to rework on how they'll sit and the distance, etc., which we have to do in banks as well. Once the kids go to school, they are free. These housewives, of course, they have a whole house to take care of, but they also have help. Housewives are free from 9 to 3 in India, or from 7 to 1, or from 10 to 4. We're going to give them employment. See, they're actually going to work. They're going to be very useful to us. People who've retired because the traditional reasons for retirement, age, which required maybe physical activity or reaching a particular pace, this thing, they will come back in a big way. So you'll have the youngsters coming and working for you who are technically, I mean, I used to think I'm fabulous. My daughters have shown me that I'm technically challenged, seriously technically challenged. But the point is that we need people, and we'll be looking for these skill sets. So when we're looking out for the kind of people that we need to hire, we'll be looking at lesser numbers, people with better presentation skills, and we're going to need people who are less adept at creating personal bonding and more adept at discussing. First, we need subject matter experts, and we need people who will be able to drive home the features and the benefits of a particular product or service. So I think where we were using certain metrics to evaluate people during an interview or mass evaluate them during certain tests, etc., the nature of those tests will change. But I think and I can tell you the other thing that will happen is banks' margins will get squeezed. Everybody will be competing for that 1 rupee that you have in your pocket. Cross-sell will become extremely important. If you are my savings bank customer, I promise you're going to take your home loan from me, you're going to take your credit card from me, FDs over here. Some volumes. In 2018, just the number of digital transactions that happened in this country were 33 billion. This year, with 9 months, this year, that's the previous year, the volume crossed from 33 billion to 110 billion. So I was just looking at FDs. The number of FDs that were opened in the month of April were 48% higher than FDs opened in any month in India till date. And so many were opened remotely. So I think things are changing. The other thing that will change is, and seriously change, is the fortunes of other industries. I can see the telecom providers, service providers, they're going to really, really rake in the mullah. They will need bandwidth, and those bandwidths will be occupied fully. And I do believe that the airlines will see a little less business-related travel. Right now, they're seeing, obviously, airlines have just opened, and other than some very adventurous people, nobody's really talking about holidays either inside India or abroad, but except for some diehard few. But other than that, I think the reason to get into a plane, other than maybe shaking hands physically for a merger and acquisition, you can't shake hands now in this environment any which way, will come down. So I think it's not just banking, but banking that will affect other industries is something that we seriously need to look at. Long answer to 4 short questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Last but not the least, Srirang, I have a set of questions for you too. Limited from the original one. You're surely the largest among the private banks that exist now, perhaps with the largest number of feet on street. I don't know that for a fact. I'm guessing. And do you also see the shift to remote selling? And if yes, how do we change the orientation of the current crowd of FOS? And if they don't, are we going to let them go? Or will they automatically die like a dinosaur, saying that, okay, these guys are not changing, so they're going to get, they'll have to exit. And is there a way that we can, let's say if you want to retain them and make them, like Zubin was saying that they should become cross-selling, or even Shanta was saying that, can we upskill tens of thousands? I think the banks collectively put together would have over 100,000 liability and 100, maybe 150,000 plus on asset sales. Right? How do we upskill so many of them quick and cost effectively? Do you have any thoughts on that? And when these guys work from home, are you going to do some process change for them?
Sure. So, no, I guess it's not cliche, but honestly, after Shanta and Zubin's, there is little for me to add. But having said it, I was just imagining, that I'm more like that jailer in Sholay, where, the left-hand side takes all the points, the right-hand takes all the points, and the rest of them follow me, right? So I honestly feel like that with the jailer without...
Different questions.
Yeah, no, that's okay. No, but answers will be the same.
Right.
Because the situation, just to take you back, honestly, I think I'll share my personal view on this. I'm not necessarily sharing the organizational view on this, but I also see, a lot of my colleagues from the ICICI Bank team who are logged in, many of them currently working in ICICI Bank, many of my ex-colleagues also. I was just scanning through the list of people, and it's a fairly large representation. So I have a lot of my friends also who are right up there, my colleagues who are hearing me out. And I must tell you that I maintained this even in my previous discussion when Shanta was there. Let's first confess that what we are facing today is something that we had not planned for ever, right? So starting position is that even to show that there was a semblance of understanding of what needs to be done in the month of March, April, I think would be far from truth. Because all our plans till date envisaged a part of the organization shutting down, a part of the geography shutting down, and some other part operational. Worst case scenario was a country shutting down and some other country operating. First time we are now faced with a BCP where every geography, every city, every business, every country shuts down at the same time. I don't think we have ever envisioned this scenario. And I also maintain, had someone envisioned the scenario 2 years back, he would have been asked to go. They would have termed him as a mad fellow, right? That how can you imagine the whole world coming down? That's impossible.
Yeah.
But the impossible has happened, right? So to be fair, I think first I must acknowledge that this is a very ambiguous situation, right? So we are finding answers to it as we speak. Directionally, I think I couldn't have agreed more with what Shanta and Zubin are saying. So if you're talking about macro trends, certainly yes. But I would not rush in and declare that it is all how it is going to be. And I'll qualify why I'm saying what I'm saying. So one, I think let's acknowledge that this is a unique situation. Even today, before this call, I have Prashant and others who are logged in as we speak. We were on a long call trying to figure out policies for the next 15 days because I don't know what will happen 1 week from now, 10 days from now, 15 days. So this is very different. So let's, we got to really play it by the ear. Second, I think it has also made us humble, right? It has made nations humble. It has made organizations humble. It has made individuals humble. This is a situation where the most powerful nation has succumbed to it as badly as the poorest nation. So it is irrespective of caste, creed, money, etc. It has brought you down to your knees. So be it nations, be it corporations, be it individuals, the richest families are not away from it. The rulers of the United Kingdom have been impacted. The Prime Minister has been impacted in as much as the migrant labor has been impacted. So this is, in some sense, very humbling because it has leveled the world.
Yeah.
So I think that's the second acknowledgement we need to have. So it is not that you can insulate yourself from a pandemic of this order. So so that is something it has taught us that the most powerful organizations are today down to their knees, and the smallest organizations. So all of us are doing what TMI is doing, right? So TMI is trying to rework and redesign its practices, and I must compliment all of you to have thought through it quite early, and you're now renegotiating some of your basic areas of work. Similarly, organizations are doing it. It doesn't matter how small, how big, how large you are, right? I think what we need to really look at is who will succeed at the end of this, whatever this pandemic, how long it lasts, again, is a matter of debate, but let's hope that it will last for about a year. Now, the reason why I put a bit of a caution is, this is something I pick up from my colleagues, because all these, what I share is the hours of discussion that we have today over calls. One of my colleagues said that what we're currently going through is a lab experiment, right? It is like a lab. So it has certain conditions, and under certain conditions, we are responding to it in a certain manner. Now, what we need to see is outside the lab experiment, which possibly will unfold in FY22 onwards. How much of this will stay on in the so-called real world, and how much of it will regress back is something we have to wait and watch. So, to rush and make claims on the basis of what's happening within a lab kind of a situation which we are in today, I think also is something we have to be cautious about. So that is the only limited, caution that I would start with. So having said it, I think on all the other points that Shanta and Zubin made, couldn't have agreed more. As a bank, and as banks, all of us have been up there, in some sense or the other. So digitization is not something that's new. But having said that, again, uh, TMI would know it even better because you have been partners to many banks. Banking has for 20 years been very successful in India, starting late 90s to maybe till about a year back. And almost all the banks have hit success, and almost all of them have used the effort and distribution model to the hilt, right? We are all products and all banks. I think in some sense we redefined banking in 2000. People like Shanta, Zubin, all others were at the forefront of this change when ICICI Bank was doing it, from a organization which was largely centered around banking, where customers walked into a bank, to a time when banks went out to customers. I think that was a big transformation that happened, and that's how sales and distribution became an extremely important competency of success in all banks. Obviously, some supported by technology, some not even as supported by technology, but certainly put more branches, put more people, put more feet on street was a model that has worked brilliantly for us, right? And all of us have hit success.
Correct.
So while we spoke digitization from 2012, 13, and Zubin mentioned the whole, the fintech scare that happened, where they all questioned whether big banks will, come under pressure. All of us spoke about digitization, but all of us concurrently added a lot of people in branches. So there was a phase between 2014, 2018, when all of us, including I, was a bit confused on what does digitization mean, because and many questions used to be raised in conferences saying that does it mean that at some stage will it be reduction of people? Honestly, all of us collectively only added more and more people in the last 4 or 5 years. So digitization, you may argue, increased efficiency, but did not really change the way of work, right? I think in the last 2 months is for the first time, I think we are really renegotiating our paradigm of work, which is essentially built around effort and distribution, right? Now we realize that this model certainly in the last 2 months has not worked. So obviously the full FOS is completely overnight, in some sense disengaged, because all your, random cold calls that used to happen where you put 100 people on the street and see as many accounts as you pick up. It was more a, I would say, some kind of a bombing that we used to do of marketplaces and see how much we could get in different forms. I'm sure, I'm not saying all banks did that, but I'm just saying there's a range in which we all did it,
Right.
which was OPEX heavy, which is very OPEX heavy kind of a model. I think for the first time, we are now renegotiating it for obvious reasons that today marketplace expects to do it. So to answer your question, I mentioned banking largely is clustered around three large skill sets. There's operations, there is service, and there is acquisition. I think banking has done pretty well in the area of operations in the last 2-3 years. A lot of our back-end operations has got digitized well in the last 2-3 years. So most banks, I think, are fairly up the curve there. On service, again, I think most banks have good platforms in place. Most of us get served through our apps today, or iMobile, or equivalent apps of other banks, or even internet. So service today is also amenable to be digitized. I think one area which has not yet been digitized is the acquisition space. And acquisition space, I think, is expected to get am I
You're losing your voice, Sriram. I think we've lost. Anand, can you hear Sriram, or have we lost his voice?
We lost his voice.
Okay. When he comes back, we will. I think he was on a very good point, and we'll get back to him. I understand Mr. Dave is leaving. So can I ask you a question, Mr. Dave, before you leave? Anand, can you unmute Mr. Dave?
You're already left.
Left? Okay. I wanted to ask him, he's the Deputy Managing Director of NABARD. I will ask him something on rural. It's okay. Let's hope Srirang comes back. And meanwhile, if any of the participants in the room have questions of the panelists,
collage of people messages, that would be an easier thing. Rather than people send.
Anand, can you
We have Srirang back.
Srirang back? Yeah. Srirang, can you complete what you were saying? Then we'll throw it open for questions.
Yeah, sure. So no, so the limited point is that certainly I think sales would transform itself from from what it is today. So data is going to be far more available. Your sales, and I tell you, I think the quality of sales calls will certainly go up, because I think our ability to access data, performance data, outcomes will be far more defined. It will be far more targeted, because you're going to now talk to customers on the basis of information and not on the basis of some random cold calls that you did. So productivity certainly is going to go up. A huge amount of travel time, which was spent about 4 hours in a day, which is unproductive work of people traveling and waiting outside of offices, etc., is going to come down. So a number of calls, and all of us know, and many of you are hardcore sales professionals, that there is a direct correlation between the number of calls to the number of conversions that you make. So clearly, I think the skill sets is going to change. To answer your question on some of the big ones, one, certainly they have to be upskilled. I'm not really talking of any major reduction in workforce. I think you can only access more customers, because banking, and this is only with all due respect, I think the public sector banks have done a brilliant job. But if they really don't catch up on the digitization, opportunities available, I think that would be on plateau for private sector banks to rush into. So I see a huge opportunity for private sector banks to reset itself and take a larger market share, which today largely 60-65% sits with PSU banks. So I think, so I'm not even looking at any reduction in workforce at this stage. But certainly we're looking at, reskilling, upskilling. And I think many of our employees and all of them are graduates, and all they need is to be trained. So I'm not so much concerned about skilling, but it is required. But I think I'm really more pushing towards design of processes. So that is a central job. The product teams have to now review and redesign our processes of acquisition, leveraging technology and data, and then reskill and train our the front FOS around these new processes and skills. So to me, we are all in the process of, I think, redesigning and reviewing some of those processes, because our processes are, many of them, are stuck in the distribution effort model, right? So that has to be redone a bit. What Zubin touched is brilliant. I think banks have to have the culture, should be able to really review and have the skill sets and the competency to review its processes. That would be a key input as to which bank will succeed. I think there is an ecosystem of what the market is willing to receive. I think the customers today are in a better position, given what we are saying, to accept the digitization as an offering. There is a regulator who also, I think, have played an extremely proactive role in enabling some of these processes. So for example, video KYC is a very small example. Video KYC, ICICI Bank had it in its UK operations 5 years back, or even much before that. But in India, we always be thinking whether it was the right thing to do. But given the current situation, it has opened up now, right? So certainly a regulator will play a positive role, because banking is an intersection of what the regulator will allow, will be a function of what the market will receive, and also is going to be a function of what banks can review and redo. So to answer your question, digitization is certainly on its way. Acquisition will certainly change. The skills of employee will change. So it will not be the kind of hiring that we did in the past. It will change a bit. I certainly believe the technology professionals in the banking sector will only increase as we speak, because you need to have them in larger numbers. We already see that in Chinese banks. The cost to income ratio of most Indian banks is upwards of 40-45%. PSU banks somewhere range about 50-55%. Chinese banks work at below 30%. right? So I believe that most banks would rush towards a cost to income ratio of less than 30%, which would mean, I think, a lot of our processes would be served digitally and not through the physical channels as we are going about it. So I think it's a transformational phase. What will banks do in FY22 will certainly be very different from what we did in FY19. But how different it will be and how much of it will really change, I think only time will tell. But we will have to be ready and push hard for it. And I was mentioning this in the previous channel. All banks have clearly understood what needs to be done. Only banks that executed the best and the fastest will win in the coming years. So that, I think, is a much difficult challenge, because and if you're larger, it's even bigger, because if culturally, if you are in a position where your organization responds to that change faster, you will catch this change faster than others. Some of us will know what to do, but may struggle doing it. And that is a test that will all be put through the next 12 months, and the best will always win. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Srirang. Thanks to all the panelists.